Welcome to the Forsyth Magazines podcast. I'm Brooke Eagle, your host, bringing you the stories of the people shaping our community. From business owners to local leaders, we'll explore their journeys, passions, and lessons learned. Let's dive in. Hey guys, we are back with another episode, and I have two very special guests today from Truliant Federal Credit Union. I have Brian, the Financial Education Officer, and I have Angela, the Director of Community Engagement and Financial Education. What's up, guys?
Hey, Brooke.
Hey.
Thanks for being on here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I just want to dive right in because I love talking about finances. I'm a nerd like that. But I know a lot of people feel super overwhelmed by finances, and I want to kick things off by you each giving 1 to 2 kind of simple, actionable tips that you would give somebody who is trying to feel more confident with their money.
Absolutely.
I would say have a budget and have a plan.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the basis and the foundation for all of it, right? Having your plan and your budget written out so you know where to go.
Good advice.
Yeah. It's kind of tied to that same advice about being proactive instead of reactive. Too often in life, we do things last minute. Finances get pushed on the back burner. And as a result, we don't quite have enough savings for something, right? Or we're not prepared for lending. So if we could just try to change our mindset, be a little more proactive, that could be really helpful.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, myself included, it sometimes budgeting feels like dieting, where like if you go too hardcore, you like want to kind of binge on spending after. Would you agree with that?
I would. That's actually a line that we use in one of our classes because so many people equate it to what I can't have, right? When they think about budgeting, it's all the things I can't do, but really changing the mindset. Budgeting's to help you obtain things that you want to do, right? And get to where you are. So very similar.
Yeah, it's the small things that really add up and make a big impact when it comes to financial wellness. So just like one example of what that could look like. Let's say $25 in a week, right? Like that's something that I think a lot of us probably could free up, right? That's one less time eating out. That's a couple items in the grocery store. We could do that. And then you think, well, that's not going to change my life. But if you could do that over a month, that's $100.
Yeah.
That sounds better. Right?
Yeah.
And then over a year, because again, we're thinking long term here, that's $1,200. And $1,200, I mean, that's emergency savings. That's maybe an extra trip you couldn't take before. I mean, there's a lot of things that could really help you.
That's a good way to look at it and the same is true reverse. Yeah. If you're spending that extra $25 a week, then you're like, oh, it's just $25. That's $1,200 a year that you're spending that you didn't have to.
Yep.
Yeah. What would be a tip that you would give to parents when teaching their kids about money?
I would say talk about it. Incorporate it in everyday life. I have 2 kids of my very own, and so I'm really going through this with my kids right now, especially the one that I have that's in high school, right? She's trying to figure out what does that look like? What type of lifestyle does she want? And just letting her see it, whether it's grocery shopping, right? And having her look at the prices and do some comparisons. If she's wanting to do something with her friends, how does she really plan for that? She's getting ready to start her first job. And so for her, she's like, I'm going to make $10.50 an hour. And she's like, so I'll have this amount of money. And I'm like, well, you also have to think about,
taxes,
right? And that was an eye-opener for her. And she's like, why would they take that from me?
Who is FICA and why do they take all my money?
Yeah. That was literally her reaction. So I think normalizing it and have it be a part of every day, right? So that you can educate them at the same time that they're going through it.
Yeah.
They're experiencing it.
Yeah, because ignoring it certainly will not help.
I think it's always been a taboo topic, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yep. Not every household talks about finances, talks about money. They're not quite as open about it, but you hit it. You were on the money with that, right? So when it comes to talking about it, not everyone's comfortable, but the more you can do, the more exposure you can have, the better. And I have 3 little ones, right? And they're all real young, 1-year-old, 2-year-olds, 8 years old. And when it comes to the oldest, right, she's still pretty young to understand the concept and all the money moves, but there's things that you can do. Like there's games out there, Monopoly. There's even like a more simple version called Allowance, that can really help you to understand like how money goes. You pay for things, you get things, right? You only have so much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a money tree.
Nope.
Unlimited money tree.
It's not endless.
Oh my gosh. So Truliant, I want to talk about Truliant for a few minutes. Truliant Federal Credit Union, you guys have been around for a long time. You have some deep local roots. And for people who may not know, can we talk about the difference between a credit union and a traditional bank?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So when you think externally and you're looking at both of them, people a lot of times think they're the same because they both have checking accounts and savings accounts, right? But they operate completely different. So when you look at a bank is a for-profit institution, right? They have to generate funds in order to pay out stockholders. Okay, so that's kind of the backside of it about how they operate. So they just have a different setup. Whereas credit unions are member-owned, right? They're not for profit like Truliant, meaning that anything that we do take in stays in-house. It doesn't go out to a stockholder or anything like that. So that's why credit unions like us can offer, really attractive savings rates, lending rates. We're more for the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Kind of going off that question too, what's a common myth or misconception that you tend to hear frequently about credit unions?
I have a big one.
Yeah.
It's probably the same one you're going to say. One, it's not accessible to me. Like I can't join. A lot of times people think, oh no, I just can't be there. And there are a lot of different credit unions out there. So credit unions, technically, you can't just walk off the street. They have what's called fields of membership, only certain ways that you can join. Each one's a little bit different. Right? Sometimes it's where you work, and we do have that field of membership with us. Sometimes it's called community charter. It's like where you live, work, reside, or worship, or where you attend an educational institution. Like if you're within a certain footprint of the branch that you're around, and for us that's 25 miles of one of those options. Right?
Okay.
So yeah, it could be that. And others, it could be that you're a part of certain groups or associations, like maybe it's tied to the military or to the state or the government, right? So you could join those ways with us. You also could be a family member or live in a household with someone that's a member. That could make you eligible. So there's a lot of ways that you can join. And let me know, Angela, if I missed something in there.
Didn't, but I will say, you talked about our local roots earlier and how long Truliant has been in the area. So we, of course, have locations all over the Carolinas. And so we have over 40 locations. So I would say if you're in the Carolinas, you can just about walk into any branch anywhere and become a member and become a part of the credit union.
Okay. Very cool. So I know that Truliant is super involved in our community. I remember Heath was telling me about don't y'all even have beehives somewhere?
We do.
Yes.
So I want to talk about all the things, but some of the just fun community engagement things that you guys are involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll mention the beehive one real quick because that one's really cool. It wasn't that long ago I actually went up there and got to see it myself with my own eyes. So our office that's right over it's our how do we describe that?
Our operations center.
Yeah, it's right across from our headquarters. They're right on the roof there, and we started that a few years back as part of one of our sustainability efforts, and it's grown. Right, it's grown up there. So I love that we're trying to be more mindful and intentional with those same efforts. But yeah, it's right here in Winston.
So cool
at our operations center.
Yeah. Angela, what are some other ways y'all are involved in the community?
I think you'll see us out at a lot of different events, any event that's going to connect us to the members of our community and help us engage with them, right, and build those partnerships. We want to let them know that we're there not just for their finance, but we want to be a part of their lives. We want to be a part of every aspect of it. And so just creating that presence, you'll see us at all sorts of events. Summer on 4th is a big one this summer, I know, in this area that you can catch us at. But
you'll see me in August. I'm performing the Live Aid performance.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
doing
Very cool.
Stairway to Heaven and Don't You Forget About Me.
I love it.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, I feel like I do see the Truliant logo on lots of sponsorship things in Winston-Salem, which is so cool. Yeah. So I know you guys have lots of financial education programs. One of them is called Money Bright.
Yep.
I want to talk about that for a few minutes.
We are so excited about Money Bright. It's our new financial education platform that we just launched earlier this year. It's available to all members of the community. It's a free resource, right? We really think that giving financial education and helping everybody obtain financial freedom should be within the reach of everyone. But how do they do that? And a lot of resources can cost a lot, right? And so we want to make sure that it's easily accessible for people. So we launched Money Bright. Money Bright offers a ton of articles, a ton of courses that you can take and earn a certification to show that you've kind of mastered that area, right? And that you're really knowledgeable in it. And so we're excited to see that. I think the really cool part about it, and one of my favorite parts, is that it's adaptable. And so based on the information you input, the areas that you're exploring, it's going to kind of customize the content to your preference and where you are in your financial journey.
Okay.
So it brings up things that are relevant to you.
So if you were if you're a member of Truliant, you were interested in the Money Bright program, one, is there like an age, how old do you have to be to start it? And two, how would you go about just getting started with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to just getting access to it, it is available through our website. You can find it there. But you technically don't have to be a member because it's available to the community. So you can go on there, explore all those articles as mentioned, kind of play around with it. But if you want to have that more personalized experience, something that's really going to help speak to your needs, and I think we probably all can say, needs change over time, right? You can create a login, answer some of those initial assessment kind of questions. And as you go through completing the modules and answering feedback questions, it will guide you, toward resources to meet your needs.
Okay. Very
And it has
cool.
an adult side as well as a teen side.
Oh.
So regardless of age, you're going to find something on there.
I was
that
going to
can
say, it
help
sounds like
you.
it would be so good for kids in high school.
Absolutely.
Too,
a great
because
resource.
I think hopefully schools are getting a little better with it, but I feel like, I know with my education, I feel like I severely did not get a lot of financial literacy, like with, taxes and with just managing your money in general, investing and things like that. I'm thankful that I have parents that taught me a lot about that, but in school that just didn't really happen. So it's cool that you guys are offering things like that.
And I think to your point, that's exactly why it's kind of being state mandated now, right? That it's a part of the curriculum before you graduate. And it's so needed,
Yeah.
to your point. And so we hope that this platform will provide an additional resources to the families, to the school system, and encouraging teens to learn more about it, right? I want my daughter to know that if she wants a certain lifestyle, she's also going to have to make sure that she plans for it, budgets, and does everything she needs to do to get there. And so I think that's where it starts.
Yeah. So if you could wave a magic wand and help people improve just one aspect of their financial life, what would that be? What would that look like? I would love for each of you to answer.
I would say, and this probably comes from a lot of the classes that we offer, because I get these kinds of questions a lot of times, like what can I do to improve certain areas? One of them is around credit, right? Credit's something that I think I probably get every month, if not every week. Someone's always asking something about it. And what I would encourage individuals to do is to try to look at it and understand it a little bit better sooner than later, before it's too late, before you actually need it to be where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Well, I think there's a common misconception, and maybe it's partially true. I should know this, but I don't. I always was like scared to even look at my credit because they're like, oh, if you look at it, it's going to damage it. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I just won't look at it. I don't know.
There's part truth to that.
Yeah.
When you have credit pulled, it depending on how you have it pulled, it could affect your score.
Yeah.
Right. So many places like us, we offer free credit review sessions. Many banks, credit unions do that. We do that where we sit down. We do what's called a financial wellness review, and we can read through that report line by line, let you know what's helping you or hurting you. Because ultimately people want to try to improve that.
Sure.
And to your point, though, if you don't have it at all, how do you get started?
Yeah.
And they can still in those
No
types
credit
of
is bad
sessions-
credit, right?
Yeah, you need to have something, because really, what does that score represent? Right?
Yeah.
That's how well you've managed your debt. If you've had no debt, you have no score.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you want to build up a good score, there's some things that you can do. Those types of sessions can help to uncover it for you. But sometimes it's just getting it established, and sometimes it's repairing it too.
Yeah.
Getting it back on track because maybe there were some setbacks.
Yeah.
To me, it's the education aspect of it, right? Because I think that's where it all stems from, is the foundation, right? when Brian talks about credit, without that education, without that knowledge behind it, how do you even know what credit does for you or what it means? Because credit impacts so many different facets of life. So I think financial education in general is kind of that foundation and making sure that we're all aware. It's not always about how much you make, but do you know how to manage it?
Yeah.
Do you know what to do with it if you have it, right? Because you could make millions and millions
and blow it all.
Still blow it all, right? And feel like you only made $1. So if you don't have that foundational knowledge, you really can't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's so true. And I'm sure you guys have seen that a ton. People who make plenty of money, in quotes, and don't have any left. And people who, make hardly nothing, but they're very good at budgeting and they have a nice living.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
It's
absolutely
interesting to see that. So one other question, I would love to hear each of your opinions on it, is about credit cards. I know there are people have like kind of one of two views of them. I crazily do not own a credit. I have a debit card. I do not have a credit card. I have one for my businesses, but I don't have a personal credit card because I don't know. I think my parents just like put the fear of God in me about getting a credit card. So I never did. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everyone's getting offers left and right. They're showing up in your email, in your mail. It's all over the place. They're just telling you, get one, you need one, right? It's easy, it's convenient. And a lot of times when people have them, I think they don't always distinguish the difference between their true cash flow and what cash they have and their spending power that's available with the credit, up to your credit limit.
Yeah.
So credit cards, they're risky. Right, there's some of the most risky type of lending out there. As a result of it being so risky, it's also some of the highest interest rates.
Yeah,
right. So, the average American consumer does hold thousands of dollars of credit card debt, right? And if you're holding that kind of debt and you're paying high interest rates, I think
it's a cycle. It's hard to get out of it.
It really is. It's hard to work that down. Now, can credit cards be used in an empowering way? Again, it's like two sides to the coin here, right? Yeah, they can be. If you already have certain areas of spending that you're using or you're putting money toward every single day, why not get some kickbacks, from paying for it with a credit card and then paying it off each month? So if we can use it responsibly, it can be a great tool, right?
Yeah.
That can help you to save for other areas of spending. But we have to manage the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any credit card thoughts?
I think it does, there's two sides to it, right? And so I think what Brian just mentioned towards the end there, it depends on where you are in your financial journey. How are you going to be able to manage it, right? Because there are some pros to it as well. Showing the responsibility of being able to utilize it and pay it back. That's what builds up your credit, right? Yeah. And plays a role in it, which a credit score, again, touches different areas of your life and different aspects. So you do need that. So showing people that you are able to use it, pay it off monthly, or responsibly is the key part to it. So I don't want to necessarily say it's evil. I think there's a fine balance to it. But again, that comes in with where are you in your journey and how are you going to be able to manage that?
Yeah. That's good advice. I like that. Yeah. So I know, Brian, you're in the financial education world daily, and you mentioned that you did get credit score questions all the time. What's another question that you find yourself answering constantly?
Okay, so I think I hit a couple so far. I talked about how people want to improve it. I've talked about how people want to manage it. Another one is, what if people are looking at their credit and there's identity theft or fraud on it, right? That's another real one. It hits home. There's so many scams out there.
It's getting so bad.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So, how do you check for that, manage that, recover from that? That's another big area that I get. Is this legitimate or not? How can I check for it? And, how do I go about reporting it? So just kind of the solution to that, you have resources like annualcreditreport.com that you can go to and do it, see it for free, your history with all three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. But sometimes we don't know what we're looking at. So we don't check. Not everyone checks.
I have Credit Karma, but I don't really know what it's like, your score is good. And I'm like, oh, cool, okay.
Yeah. So
I don't know what else to do with that. But
Credit Karma, free resource. It's another great tool to look at, consider. It can help you, especially in trying to catch some fraud, that pops up. But if someone has enough data to pretend to be you, a lot of times you're not going to know about it unless you're checking your report, right? Because it's probably going to a different email. a different address, different phone number, so you won't know unless you see it
That's
on the
scary.
report. Yep. Yeah, it is scary.
So I guess advice for that partially would be you should set up some sort of Credit Karma or some sort of credit thing where you do get, because I get emails so that if something crazy is happening, you would at least get an alert.
Yeah, there's a lot of approaches. You can set up alerts, you know, to make sure nothing is showing up with the credit bureaus. You can sign up for annual credit report and get weekly reports sent to you. And I briefly said it earlier, our credit review sessions, many banks and credit unions offer sessions to sit down and review reports with you.
Yeah.
Because you might look at it and not see it, but someone else might see it. Right.
Because what is a dumb question, but what is a really good credit score? Like what? And is there even a perfect credit score? Does that exist?
Technically, there's a high, there's a cap to each credit bureau. Each credit bureau has a different scoring range.
Okay.
Right? So if you ever look at different reports and someone's like, you know, it's 800 here, but it's like 700 there, and you're wondering why is it different? They all report independently. They have different highs and lows. They have different metrics, percentages of what they rate. So
and not all places use each one, right?
Yeah,
so they pick and choose.
Yeah, it depends on the lender. It depends on the financial institution and who they use. So it's important to check all three so that you know what the scores look like on all three, but also all three report different things.
Yeah. Right.
So you always want to check for, you know, even if you have a great score, which is phenomenal,
Yeah.
but then you also want to know what's on there, because what you don't want to do, to Brian's point, is wait until something happens and then go, oh, now I want to fix it. You know, now I want to take a look and dive deep. But you really want to understand, because a lot of it's historical context. So you will look, were those actually your loans? What does that look like? Is your birth date, you know, all of your information, previous addresses, correct? So, you know, there's a lot of information on there. So really, I think sitting down with somebody and going through that is the best thing that you could do. If you did nothing else, you know, going through there, sitting down with someone, you know, whether it's at a local branch or somewhere else, but making sure that you have someone that you can go through and talk about line by line. What does it really mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's a foreign language to people like me. Like,
Right.
like I'm just not in that world. Like, so I don't understand it as.
It's like insurance. I don't understand any of that. That's why
And
I
taxes,
just have to.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we have a
true.
class for that.
Yeah, I
We
need to
would
take
love
that.
for you to come to about insurance and the different areas that you should consider.
and
right?
taxes. And taxes.
And
too.
taxes
I need
and
to sign
credit,
up. I need to
so-
take a class on both. Taxes just blow my mind. I'm like, oh gosh, my CPA, bless him, he's got a full
Taxes
plate.
blow my wallet.
That too. So one last question before we wrap things up, and I want to hear responses from each of you. What is a specific tip? So let's just say hypothetically, somebody comes in, they're in their 40s or 50s, and they have nothing saved for retirement. They're just not in a good financial space, and they feel like nothing is going to help, and they just are kind of bummed about it. Like, what is a
Brooke Color, get out of my head.
But where would they start? Like, I feel like there's always somewhere to start and kind of to get them on the road to getting on track or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. One is trying to assess their situation. Of course, always. You know, if they have something, you have to kind of know what people's budget is. You know, if they have something left over at the end of the month, to be able to plug away to the side.
Yeah.
I think that's obstacle number one, right? Is just trying to figure out money management.
See where it's going.
And then two is aligning them with the right person, the right resources to meet their needs. So, you know, when it comes to more long-term savings, it probably is aligning them with a financial advisor, right? That can help to see, you know, what their maybe long-term needs are, because everyone's going to have different types of long-term needs.
Yeah.
So if they can kind of get some of that stuff out of their head and started to work it out on paper, then you can start to create a more comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
So some people too at 40s, 50s, I mean, you may want to put it in 401ks. You may want to put it into IRAs and, you know, credit unions, banks. There's all kinds of different places you can put that money aside. But we got to make sure we have it first. And then secondly is aligning that money into the right spot.
Good answer. I like it.
I think the first thing I would say to them is it's not too late. And I think that's the first thing that crosses people's mind, right? I'm in my 40s or 50s. Is it too late? Should I have thought about this earlier? I think the first thing I would say is it's not too late.
Yeah.
Right. Every day we have an opportunity to start over and create a fresh beginning. So I would say connect with somebody. Come in and see us. We have resources that can help you. We have financial advisors. We have members in our branches, team members in our branches that can help you take a look at where your finances are today and help you create a plan and help hold you accountable for that plan to make sure that you can set that up for the future.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I would start.
I think that's a really good answer because I think it can feel discouraging, honestly, any age. I'm in my 30s, even being in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you feel there's always going to be people ahead of you, but there's also going to be people that you're ahead of. So you got to kind of look at both sides, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And to her point, too, about, it's never too late. If you did talk to someone, and I get that question sometimes, too, I say now, whatever you can afford to do. Now,
Yeah.
Sometimes we might say we need to have a lot, to be able to put aside on a regular basis. I can wait, until I maybe make more or until I pay down some more debt. But whatever you can afford to do, if it's $5, $10, plug it away.
Yeah.
Start now.
I think people get like that analysis paralysis where they just are overwhelmed and decide not to do anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this has been so informative. So the Money Bright, if you're interested in looking up some of those articles and creating an account, that is open to anybody.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they can find it on our website. They
Okay.
can go to Truliant, fcu.org /moneybright.
Awesome. We'll put that in our show notes so people can click on that and check it out. I'm going to check it out when I get home.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. And as always, you can find Forsyth Mags on social media at Forsyth Mags, and you can find us online at forsythmags.com. And that's it. That's a wrap for today. The views and opinions stated on this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting companies. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced without expressed written consent of Forsyth Magazines Incorporated. Whew, that's a mouthful.